Every year I try and read as many good books as possible, but there are some that always stand tall among the league of average books that I read. So this year has been a year where I actually haven't been able to read as many books as I would have liked. But even though I read fewer books, I reckon I was able to spend more time identifying the best books which could actually make a difference in my life. So with that, there are these four books that I will probably like to share with everyone. And yeah, here we go. So the first book I will recommend everyone to read is 4000 Weeks by author and journalist Oliver Burkeman. Oliver has been writing about productivity, mental health, and modern life for more than a decade. 4000 Weeks, which came out in 2021, is Oliver's take on how, in the modern world, we as humans have become a slave to the clock, than it being the other way around. Oliver argues in this book that the way we think of life, or the way we think of humanity and our community as a whole, as just a productivity machine, is a wrong way to think. Think about this. We actually just have 4000 weeks in our life, right? And if you don't use it properly, you just get one chance. The second book that I will suggest everyone is Founders at Work by Jessica Livingston. Jessica is one of the most powerful and influential person in the startup world. She was the founder and president of Y Combinator, and she right now is involved in multiple startups and has seen the journeys of some of the biggest brands that we know. She has been part of the journey of companies like Stripe, OpenAI, Dropbox, and many more. But this book is a bit different. This book is the journey uh, of multiple startup founders whom we probably now know as big names in the corporate world, like someone who has built Gmail, Sabi Bhatia for Hotmail, or PayPal Mafia, or n number of other organizations, and takes us to the start of the journey when they were normal people like us. One of the things that Jessica says, the preface of the book has really stuck with me. That this book actually is not to inspire people, or probably the right word would be not to tell people that how greatness can be achieved, but it's to tell us that each one of the startup founders were normal people like you and me. They also had self doubts. They also faced difficulties, but only thing that separated them from people whom we don't hear about is perseverance. That's about it. Book number 3 in the series is Traction by Gabriel Weinberg and Justin Mays. Startups don't die because they are not able to build a product. They die because they are not able to find traction. This quote stuck with me, and I found this book to be extremely important, particularly for product founders or technical founders who don't understand the importance of distribution. Going back to the authors, Gabriel Weinberg and Justin Mays, both are serial entrepreneurs. Gabriel, founder of DuckDuckGo, the only search engine that was probably able to compete with Google and is still there surviving and doing really well, knows a thing or two about distribution, distributing digital products, or any business for that matter. This is a book which is about practical tips of how to find distribution for your business. It talks about channels, it talks about how to test channels, it talks about which channels to avoid, and yeah, highly recommend to anyone who's thinking of building a product or is trying to find distribution for their startups, or even works as a person who's responsible for growth in an organization. So yeah, please go ahead and read it. Probably save the best for the last. Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson. I'm a huge fanboy of Steve Jobs. I've probably read all of the books that have been written about him, or any of his so-called biographies, but this one by Walter Isaacson is probably one of the best. It's a great book that goes into all the different traits that you want to know about someone whom you admire or want to know about. And whether it might be Steve Jobs, the teenager, or Steve Jobs who had this really flawed personality, or Steve Jobs, the design genius, you get to go through all of the aspects of Steve. You also understand what made him that different, or what were the key decisions that were taken throughout the history due to which Apple became the company which it is right now, with such an ultra and different focus on design, such focus on simplicity, the courage. Where does all that come from? So there are lots of lessons I went away with after reading this book. Like, for example, people do judge a book by its cover, so it's very important to impute or present yourself better. Simplicity is the ultimate form of sophistication. Making things simpler is a very hard job, and Steve was razor focused on that. And final one was great design needs courage. Think of it. There were iPhones which didn't even have a switch off buttons. Can you think of the courage that it might take for someone to make that high stake decision? But Steve was the guy who had that courage, who knew that there are some decisions that might be risky, but you need to take those decisions to make a great product and a great business. I normally do the space as a written text thing that I used to post on my blogs, but with the world changing and with the rise of large language models, I reckon a bit of authenticity to get a bit of authenticity, you're much better off talking directly to people. And I'm hoping, although that there will be some time before AI will be able to replace this one-on-one communication that we're having through this camera and probably through this microphone. And yeah, that's it. Thank you. Hopefully in the future I will do other vlogs. I've never done vlogs before, so probably let's see how it rolls. Yeah, thank you. Take care.